Morning now. Yesterday we saw the Magashule versus the ANC, and this is the court hearing over his suspension. We joined on the line this morning by freelance journalist covering South African and African politics, Carien Du Plessis. Carien, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, obviously, yesterday was an extremely interesting day in court where Magashule took the ANC to court to force to reverse his suspension. Now, there were some very interesting developments, obviously, that have taken place, and subsequent to that, we've seen just so many statements come through from his legal team and the like, and just your reading into the situation as to what happened in court yesterday.
Well, yeah, I'm no legal expert, but politically, I think most of this case is just political rather than legal. The court gives him a platform to make his case and to present himself as a victim. And Darin Pope is also very good at, having political speeches in court. Even though he argues legal arguments, but a lot of it's political, and he uses very colorful metaphors. So what happened is that basically Darin Pope, his legal representative, argued that ACE was suspended according to a rule in the ANC's constitution that's not constitutional. So he says, the rule is unconstitutional, but if that's wrong, anyway, it's unconstitutional to deprive ACE Magashule of his right to participate in a political party. So he came with all these kind of arguments that I think some of it could be valid. He was looking at the way that the party's National Executive Committee kind of repurposed, I think he called it, the resolution by the party in 2017 that those who are charged with corruption should step aside. He said it was repurposed to such an extent that it excluded activities done by Cyril Ramaphosa, who's been accused of raising money to run his campaign. Was ACE Magashule supporters say he was buying votes in the 2017 presidential, the national conference. So they say it was factional because it excludes people like Cyril Ramaphosa who actually transgressed the party's rules. So it kind of felt to me that, he came up with a whole lot of arguments. So in case the one argument's wrong, he came up with a lot of backup arguments. And it will be interesting to see what the ANC's team says today when Trengrove will be arguing the ANC side. Basically, I'm expecting him to say something to the lines of that ACE Magashule was part of the NEC all along. Since the 2017 conference, he was there. He was participating in all these processes of repurposing the resolution and even of suspending himself. He was part of the NEC that suspended him. So he kind of assented to it anyway. So again, say his arguments are not valid. But I think it was interesting. The day also started with a bit of a sideshow that it was basically people applying to intervene in ACE Magashule's case on his side. And that also plays into what he's been saying is that, he's got branches on his side. There was two branches in a region of the ANC in the Free State, and two individual ANC members who applied to intervene, and they said, the rule 25.70 of the ANC constitution is unconstitutional, the one that was used to suspend ACE Magashule. And then there was a Zimbabwean businessman who, Mr. Mawere, who basically said, he was suspended in 2013 because he apparently defrauded, used the party's letterhead to defraud the national lotteries to the effect of 5 million rand, and he was suspended for misconduct, and now he also wants to challenge the rule. And then Mr. Shezi, who is a big supporter of Jacob Zuma, also, he's also saying, his rights are affected by ACE Magashule's suspension, basically, because ACE Magashule represented him like thousands of other branch members. But the judges said that those are cases for another day. They might have merit, but they're not part of this case. So yeah, so it was an interesting day yesterday, and I suspect today might be a little bit less interesting.
Well,
In
obviously,
terms
Karin, and
of spectacle.
I think what is clear, despite this case being a bid to reinstate Ace Magashule, and he spoke about the sideshows that have taken place. But what is clear, what is blatant, is what has been taking place within the ANC for a very, very long time. The political dynamics that are playing out, the factionalism, and this obviously is going to feature very, very prominently, I think, throughout this hearing, by the sound of things.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's all about the factionalism inside the ANC, and all about the fact that in 2017 they were trying to create what they call a unity leadership. With 50-50 leaders from both sides, from both Cyril Ramaphosa's supporters and Jacob Zuma's his supporters. And it doesn't seem to have worked that well. It seems, I mean, the party has fought since then, and it's manifesting now in this court case and the leadership battles. But I think it also manifests in the way the country is being run at the moment. The president's very busy trying to settle things in the party. The party doesn't have a secretary general, which is a full-time administrator, trying to keep things together. So there's a leadership gap. Local government elections are coming closer, and councillor candidates have to be chosen. And we've seen people, shooting each other in the Popo, and I think there's going to be a lot more of that. So there's a kind of a lack of direction in the ANC and a lack of leadership, which is also affecting the likes of you and me, ordinary citizens on the ground, because it's distracting our leaders in government.
No, also,
So this court case is very important for all of us to watch to see what.
I think what is going to be interesting today, Karin, when we're looking at Jessie Duarte, when she presents arguments against the suspension of Magashule.
Yes, I mean, Jessie Duarte is basically, she's doing it on behalf, or she won't be in court herself, obviously, but she is now representing the ANC. So the arguments will be on her behalf and on the ANC's behalf, and I think also Cyril Ramaphosa himself is mentioned as a respondent in the case. So Wim Trengove will be making arguments on their behalf as respondents. But I mean, the ANC's only got, it's only one case is being made on behalf of the ANC. And it is also interesting. I mean, some of these what I call the guys who try to intervene, the sideshows try to say, but Jessie Duarte has no right to act on behalf of the ANC. I mean, as Mr. Mawere, the businessman, said, he it was a strange argument. He said the DSG is nothing without the SG. She's there to assist the Secretary General, and if he's not there, she's nothing, because there's no link between her, no direct link between her and the NEC. But I think the judges kind of disagreed. They said, well, she deputizes the Secretary General, which means that if he's not there, then she takes over his function. That's part of the function of deputizing. So yeah, I mean, so I think that they were trying to break down her credibility, because she is the one who represents the ANC. I think she deposed most of the affidavits on behalf of the ANC, but yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, but I don't think we'll see anything of her today. I don't think she'll be in the foreground at all. It will be the case, will be on behalf of the ANC.
Yes, I think what is interesting also is, looking at the outcome, what actually comes out of this court hearing, because we're in an election year, and how this is likely to impact on the ANC, its campaign in the elections, in the local elections, and also the outcome of the elections.
Yes, and I think it's very important for President Cyril Ramaphosa. He wants a second term by all, sort of all indications are that he's going to run for a second term at the ANC's conference next year. And one of the things that's been used against the previous president, Jacob Zuma, is that electoral support for the ANC dropped when he was leading the ANC. So, and it's a very difficult year. There's a pandemic. People won't be coming out in their hundreds to vote. I think by October we're still going to see COVID running rampant. We're not going to have that many vaccinated yet. So it's going to be a very difficult election in terms of inspiring the voters, in terms of calling out the votes, and then also this infighting in the ANC in an elections year is not going to make the party a very attractive prospect. I think a lot of loyal voters will actually just stay away. And then also we've seen the ANC's league, the youth league is kind of not really existing. There's a national task team in place, and the youth league's normally been one of the big campaign vehicles for the ANC. You know, having youthful activities such as car washes and get together and braais. So yeah, and I don't think I just don't think the ANC's campaign machinery is really up to its usual self. But then again, it's like I said, it's a pandemic year. I don't even know what the campaign's going to look like. So.
Well, let's see what develops, Carien. But
interesting scenario.
Definitely interesting times we are in. But all the best to you, Carien. Thank you as always for your time with us here on Stellar Media on News and Views. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, and have a good day to you too.
A strip of land with over 2 million people blockaded for 30